Hi, my name is Bob Dunsmore. I have had the incredible privilege to meet the #1 climate scientist in this country, John Berger. I'll tell you more about him in just a second. And he has helped me to understand that I can bring to you the best and the most important good news that you will ever hear. I really believe that. What is about to follow is the best and the most important news I've ever heard. And that is that we can save the planet, scheduled to go into a tipping point irreversibly into a sixth extinction within, some scientists say, 3 or 4 years. Others say it's already happening, So before we get to that point, we have to solve the climate crisis with the only solution, according to John Berger, the only solution to climate crisis, which is carbon drawdown. Let me show you a picture of this climate scientist that I got to meet in Oakland a while back, John Berger. I'll read his a little bit about him right here, right now. He is an environmental science and policy specialist, a prize-winning author and journalist, a graduate of Stanford University and the University of California. Berger has written for Scientific American, HuffPost, the Los Angeles Times, the Boston Globe, the Christian Science Monitor, and USA Today magazine. He has been a consultant to the National Research Council of the National Academy of Sciences and the U.S. Congress. I could go on, but here I want you to know that let me make sure that my clock is running here, because I want to keep this to about 10 minutes. What he has said is that on page 229 of his book, let's see if here, let me show you the book. It's called Solving the Climate Crisis. It can be in my research on John Berger and what he has to say, and going to regenerative agriculture conferences in Boulder, Colorado, here near me. I have found out, and I believe, that if implemented by the U.S. government, the idea of carbon drawdown, we could solve the global warming crisis within 2 to 3 years, which would be before we move into a tipping point, according to many of the scientists. So that's really good news. We have so many things that we are dealing with right now. I mean, you name it, including many different extinction points, or tipping points, like the coral reefs, the tundra, the methane explosions, the forests of the world. There's just so much that is occurring that we shouldn't just be thinking about one tipping point. We need to get to work right now to slow that down and to actually reverse it, which I think we could do in 2 to 3 years from our Congress adopting this as U.S. policy. And let me just read what this incredibly beautiful solution is all about. John Berger says, well, what if there's a way to safely pull billions of tons of carbon out of the atmosphere to substantially reduce or even eliminate global warming? What if this approach costs relatively little and could be used around the world? What if it also put billions of dollars in cash into the hands of countless American citizens and people worldwide? What if it even slashed fossil fuel consumption and made the world more resilient to climate stress? Well, he says, it turns out there is a system that can do all that. It's called carbon farming. And it just might be key to restabilizing the climate. In the process, it can revitalize rural communities while also producing healthier, more nutritious crops and amazingly it is low cost, low tech, and low risk. The carbon farmer works with simple inputs like the land, seed that regenerates, compost, moisture, and sometimes especially selected microorganisms that speed a depleted soil return to health. Carbon farming also doesn't pull land out of production, nor does it disturb natural ecosystems. In fact, it's a down-to-earth solution to global warming that employs nature's omnipresent carbon cycle, which constantly shuttles molecules in and out of the atmosphere. Carbon molecules, I'm sorry. And he points out that it not only shuttles that carbon out of in and out of the atmosphere, but also from soil, fresh water, and the oceans. Yet carbon farming is still neither widely known nor widely practiced today. I know why. Everyone agrees. It's because it's not making money for corporations. So the good news is that if we get the ear of a government official to take it to Congress, I think it'd be even attractive to the Trump administration, because the majority of farmers in this country are screaming because their land's being confiscated by big ag for the fact that they have big ag pollens coming into their fields, and they can actually be confiscated, and the legal system is actually supporting the corporate takeover of agriculture and the land, forcing thousands of farmers off their land and millions around the world. And that's actually NPR made a comment saying that this particular solution of regenerative farming to draw down carbon would actually end the immigration problem, because people could return to their fields if the soil were regenerated and the seed could regenerate. Mexico, for example, instead of being the biggest importer of genetically modified corn, would become the biggest exporter again of reproducible corn. Now, that's just an example. Agricultural big business has destroyed the land throughout Latin America and Africa, India, where it all began, by the way. And I had a scientist tell me that if only 1% of India's arable land were regenerated, it could absorb all the carbon out of the atmosphere that's produced by humans. So this is really good news, don't you think? We can do it. And let me give you an example. We know that forests draw down lots of carbon, and they put it into their root system, down into the mycelium underneath, so that it's stored for thousands of years. But the forests are being destroyed, and I have found out from the United Nations that the number one cause of worldwide deforestation is the fact that billions of people are going out and cutting wood to cook. Cooking fuel is the only fuel that's not subsidized. So people simply cannot afford the hot plates and the tanks and to purchase gas in much of the 2/3 world. And so I have found out that machines around the world that are now making fuel logs for industry could easily make fuel logs if there were some subsidies to help them give that to the people, or subsidize the costs for the people. They have told me I've worked in 20 countries in community development, and they have told me if we could have our cooking fuel subsidized, we would save the forests. We would set up the growing of seedlings and preparing them and transplanting them, and we would guard those forests, because every year, like in eastern Bolivia, 200,000 families are displaced by floods, diseases, spread, dead animals everywhere, because there are no trees, and all the rain coming down from the Andes into eastern Bolivia floods them out. They're ready to plant trees and to protect forests, but they don't have the way of cooking for their families except to cut trees, and that's true in Africa and India, Haiti. And so there are machines that will compress, like take Haiti, right next door to the Dominican Republic, which is all about sugarcane. The sawdust from the processing of sugarcane, called bagasse, can be compressed in these machines and make a wonderful fuel log. I've had 4 inches burned for 4 hours. It's rice chaff, coffee pulp, sawdust, bagasse, all make wonderful fuel logs that are using carbon captured out of the atmosphere and releasing it, so it's a neutral thing. But the fact that it's saving forests and that people are willing to actually reforest means that it is carbon positive. Especially when you consider the fact that there are ways of managing livestock to actually create forests. The Savory Institute, based out of Boulder here in Colorado, has experimented with actually creating forests using proper management of cattle, moving them through, say, a quadrant. Ooh, we're getting close to 10 minutes. Oh, there's so much to share. So let me tell you, write the Heart Mind Alliance at gmail.com if you have any questions, and check out these YouTube videos here. I'll just put this up while we close. Good news, the climate crisis solution, and good news, exclamation point, why carbon drawdown is the only solution. These you can find on YouTube. I haven't been able to figure out how to do voice and video on TikTok, so I'm hoping I can upload this to TikTok and refer you to here. I gotta close. Bye bye.